Hi, and take three. Good morning, Monday morning. A few technical glitches. We apologise for that. You've been seeing us running around trying to figure things out. Anyway, here we are. It seems we're live to Thailand and the rest of the world now, and we'd like to introduce Jay, our co-host for the day. Hi, Jay.
Good morning, Tim. Hello, everyone.
Hey, you certainly dressed the part. What are you doing?
I had to. I had a lot of pressure last week from people always telling me that I can't. I don't have the same shirt game as you. So I took inspiration from you, and
you didn't.
Yeah. Well, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to my dad. Thank you for helping me with the shirt. And thank you for letting me borrow your groovy shirts.
What on earth is your father doing with shirts like that?
Well, I guess you both go shopping at the same place.
Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, good one. So thank you, Jay, for being part of the program and following all the comments. We've got a lot of comments already. Hi to Lawyers, Guns and Money, Jay, Dirty Old Man's always there, Bob, Cheeky Jay from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Hi, Jay. And already firing some questions at us. And thank you very much to saying, we can see you, we can see you. We know you could. We've got some very good guests today, and we'll get to them in just a moment. Let's go through the stuff happening over the weekend because we've got a lot to talk about. Sadly, there are 11,784 new infections announced today, 81 sad COVID-related deaths. 100 of those cases today are from prisons. The third day over 10,000 cases, and the second day over 11,000 people. Now let's just from that news go to what's happening with the sandboxes.
Sure.
And with Samui, they must, I don't know what they're going to be doing to try and contain the success. But yesterday, 5 people arrived on 2 flights. Well, 3 people on one flight, 2 on another. What's going on? 15 people in total have landed in Samui since July the 15th. Bit of a slow start for Samui, but at least they'll be grateful to have a start to some sort of tourism there.
Isn't that shocking, though?
It's not as good, I suppose, as expected.
I mean, maybe because I'm coming, maybe I've always lived in Phuket, but I thought that there would be a lot more people going to Samui because after 7 days they get access to 2 extra islands.
Well, you could say the same in Phuket because after the first, 14 days here, you can go off to Panga, you can go off to Koh Phi, so you've got a whole lot of extra islands available here. And also just within the Phuket Sandbox, you've got 4 or 5 islands which you can visit in the first 7 days. So if it comes to visiting islands, I think the Phuket Sandbox is quite successful too, but a bit of a rough start. 55 of the people in Samui at the moment are actually from the Phuket Sandbox. So they've taken advantage of being able to jump in a car or jump in a plane and head over to Samui because I suppose at the moment the situation is, where else are you going to go? Bangkok's basically in a lockdown, don't mention the L word, but we'll be getting to Bangkok specifically in just a moment. Also just wanted to mention the airlines. At the moment, most of the airlines have pretty much cancelled flights from Wednesday until at least the end of this month, possibly into the middle of next month. There were a few holding out, but now even Vietjet have said they're cancelling all domestic flights from this Wednesday through to the end of the month. I think Bangkok Airways are the only ones who are going to continue flights to Samui from Bangkok and also from Phuket to Samui. So I really don't know from this Wednesday if you'll be able to fly in or out of Bangkok. Basically, the government said no flights out of a dark red zone, and Bangkok is a dark red zone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the situation at the moment. We'll talk about the protests yesterday in just a moment.
But I have a quick question from Beverly, which is quite relevant for the moment. With no more domestic flights, how does one escape the sandbox?
This is a problem. You can jump in a car. You can jump on a motorbike. You could, I think flights are going to be a problem. So with the rest of the country, with the cases going up, the sandboxes are becoming much more of a situation where you're going to be safe and comfortable. And, well, if you're stuck on a tropical island for longer than 14 days, it's not the end of the world.
Sure.
Let's have a quick break. Then we're going to be heading to Bangkok to our guest today and some really worrying news that I think you'll want to know about. You're watching The Thaiger, and this is Good Morning Thailand. Back on Good Morning Thailand, I think we've got our act together, sort of, roughly, kind of. We've got Jay here, and we've got a few questions.
Yeah, Tim. I'll start off with Sam, who asked, Good morning. Good morning, Sam. I am fully vaccinated. Can I still drive out of Bangkok?
I think at the moment, getting out of Bangkok is going to be
Difficult.
complicated, getting out of any of those dark red zones. Remembering that over the weekend they've announced 3 more areas in Thailand that are now dark red zones. Off the top of my head, Ayutthaya was one of them. I can't remember the other 2. But pretty much that whole area, what we call Greater Bangkok, is now pretty much a dark red zone. And they have got checkpoints. And I think they're saying you need to have a very good reason to travel at the moment, vaccinated or not, as we understand it, Sam.
Yeah.
All right, our guests all the way from Bangkok. We've had them on before, but they've got some important news and updates. So we'd like to welcome Friso and Greg. Friso from Dinner in the Sky, Greg from Sunrise Tacos. Together they're part of the Bangkok Community Help Foundation. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
So we've had you on before talking about the Klong Toi slums and the problems there, but now the problem of these high-density housing communities has stretched to some nearly 600 worker camps that have been closed down.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that rolled out about 20 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when you take 585 people, you put them in a room. Some people are going to be good, and some people are going to be bad. So some developers take care of the workers that have been locked up. And some don't answer their phone after 20 days, right? And even though the people are hungry and they don't have water, they just ignore them. And that's where we come involved, and we help them.
So the situation is that the government said, okay, we're going to close down these workers' camps. Some 600, these are places that are being built by developers, and they said, you can't come out of there, and the developer is responsible for feeding them, but they're not all feeding them as they should be. This is what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, and they're also not all paying them as well. So in many cases, not all the workers are in the social fund, which means if the construction company doesn't pay out the 150 baht a day that they would actually supposed to, then these people have no income at all. So they will not be able, of course, to buy anything for themselves. But the bigger issue is also that they obviously have families outside of the camps that are waiting for their support. They are there working in those camps in the first place to, support their families outside. So it ripples again out to everybody that's depending on them, of course.
Can you give me some numbers? How many people are involved, and who are they?
Well, it's around 80,000 people that are in the construction sector that's involved. Around 32,000 they estimate are no longer in the camps. So 48,000 are locked in to those 585 camps. And, some of the stories that we've found where, they're building 50 million baht houses, and, the developer just is no longer showing up, and he said, you know, what do we do for food, boss? And he pointed to the lake and said, go fish. You know, we had a situation where a developer brings one box meal every 2 days, so they get a half a meal a day. And so, yeah, some of the situations were really, really bad. So we're there to help out on the construction, and a lot of people have opened their pocketbooks and say, yeah.
How did you find out about this? I mean, these are some horror stories, but how did you become aware?
It's literally by going there. Of course, I mean, it's very hard to find, because you can't Google construction camp and find a list of all of them, right? So we really rely on our network, on our donors, on people that are involved with our foundation that message us and say, hey, there's a camp in my soil. I see there's nobody coming. We had one person that saw a camp from her balcony. They were waving for help. We went in there, we assessed the situation. In that case, we found out that they haven't had any help for 20 days.
No water either.
No water, nothing. They were boiling the water from a water tank that they had on the construction site. So it's really, I mean, there's a lot of horror stories, and it's basically just for us to go there, assess the situation, find out what's needed, and then help as soon as possible.
Can we make a plea to your listeners? Yes. If you know of any construction site where this may be happening, let us know, you know, at our Facebook page, Bangkok Community Help Foundation.
Okay, Bangkok Community Help, if you want to go to that Facebook page and get some more information and see some photos and stuff. And
also, if you'd like to donate, of course.
Yes, of course, if you'd like to donate. But reminding you that Bangkok Community Help is a registered foundation, so you can be assured that your money is going to people that are going to distribute the money responsibly and properly. So these would mostly be, cutting through a lot of the white noise here, these would mostly be Burmese and Cambodian migrants?
It's a mix, really. Thai as well. But yeah, those three nationalities are represented there. And they all, I mean, there's no difference made who gets help, who doesn't. The Thai also don't get help. So it's a similar situation.
So these people are being like guarded by police? People can't get out?
That is correct.
What about you guys getting in? They allow you access?
Yeah, we haven't had a problem. I mean, as far as the police allowing us to provide the food, that's not an issue. They just won't let them go out.
It's not that they're the bad guys or whatever. They actually also help us. I mean, they tell us what's going on in the camps. So they're really also supportive. So it's not that they're there very, very strictly not letting anybody in. If we come and say we have help, they say, please come.
And is it army or police?
It's a mix. It depends on the camp.
Okay.
They deploy both, yes.
Jay?
Well, John wants to know, has there been a strong pushback by these people?
No. That's not their nature, really.
No.
But
we ask,
it just sort of surprises me that these people are put in a horrendous situation. They've been cooped up, told they cannot leave. So obviously the possibility of catching COVID is much higher in these high density communities, and they're not really, clearly not getting the sort of medical attention that they deserve. I'd be banging the pots and pans and screaming from the rooftops.
You know, what's more strange is that when we ask them, well, will you stay working for your employer that didn't answer the phone for 20 days? And they look at us and said, well, of course, we can't go back to Burma, and we have no choice. We want to work. So, yeah, the boss must have a reason for not answering the phone, you know? Yeah. And so, you get that from camp after camp, that they look at us and, well, of course I'm going to go back to work. So
this is really the only thing they want to do. They want to get back to work and make money.
Sure. Jay?
Alexander wants to know, does Thailand have a police force or authorities that rescue such people that are not being fed?
There is some help. Obviously, when people are registered in the social fund, they receive 150 baht a day from the government. The issue is just that in many cases, not all the workers, or sometimes not any of the workers, are registered. So then there is no support in that way.
Right. But nobody has gotten any social fund yet.
No, it's also paid out late. So, yeah, I mean, the people really rely
They might
on
get
the
it a
help
month
of
from now.
outside.
Yeah.
Correct.
But they need to eat now. But at the end of the day, they still have to get the food in there somehow. So, yeah.
Another comment from one of our members.
Yeah, two of our members actually. So Jay says that they don't seem to have any power. What can they do? Which is true. And Greg says that please don't excuse the police because they aren't supporting them and locking these people in.
Well, I suppose the police are just doing what they're being told to do, but at some stage, I suppose, and this is why we're talking about it today, people need to know what's going on. And as you said, this is some 80,000 people and nearly 600 worker camps. Could we just move back to the original problem, which we got to know you guys, and have a quick talk about what's happening in Klong Toi, because these were people who they weren't necessarily locked in, but these are people who were leaving that slum area and going to work every day. What's the current situation for them?
I wanted to just go back on the construction camp. You know, I was talking about the 585 people. Some are good and some are bad. So some of the construction camps are in good shape and everything's great, but there are some that are bad, and those are the ones that we want to search and find out. As far as the Klong Toi slums, I think we can sum up the whole situation in Bangkok in general. No beds. You know, if there's two words that sums up the situation right now, there are no hospital beds, and people are really infected by that. And so we're searching, on the other hand, for places to put beds to get the people out of their homes, because when they're in the home, it's usually 15 square meters, and it's going to infect other family members who can't get them out. There's over 500 people on a wait list to get to an isolation center, and there is no isolation center that has room right now.
Okay, I think this is, Jay, something that I suppose we need to get our head around, is that whilst on one hand they're saying come to Phuket and Samui and have a fabulous time in Thailand and sit on the beach and enjoy the wonders of amazing Thailand, we've got stories like this. It's literally a horror story of these worker camps and people being locked in. And now we've got Greg saying that there is a critical shortage of hospital beds. So we've got some problems in Thailand that need some urgent attention. Do you think the government are aware of these situations, Greg and Friso? Or why aren't these with these high-density housing areas not getting the support they clearly need? It's not only a danger to the people in the camps, but it's obviously a danger to the people everywhere else in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Right. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not by magic. I mean, you know, they're aware of the situation, but, you know, people call and plead for our bed. But if there is no bed, where are they going to put the person, right? So, you know, there are some roadblocks. There's still some politics involved, as far as like one area that we were looking at where they said they nixed the idea of putting beds there at a community center that we were going to develop, because they said wastewater was going to be an issue. Well, there's a lot of wastewater in Klong Toi anyway, so it doesn't really matter, right? Right now, we're trying to save people's lives, right? So
this is really the priority. Yeah, people need to get out of the homes. Otherwise, we will infect everybody that's in the house, that's around the house. So this is really the absolute number one thing. What we also do, because there are no beds, we do provide people with oxygen as well right now. We have some cases of people literally gasping for air, having very heavy symptoms, no beds, again, can't go anywhere. So we actually go in there and provide them with oxygen and the equipment to actually make them able to breathe again. So this again is sort of a measure we need to take in order to keep people, well, literally alive in some cases. So
what sort of monies do you think Bangkok Community Help need at the moment on a daily basis to be able to continue the help that you've been providing with the food packs, and now with the other services you're trying to help with getting basic oxygen to people who are in desperate need?
Well, the oxygen cylinder costs 4,000 baht, and then the regulator is 1,500. We've been told not to use the regulator, more than once because it gets contaminated. But as far as the canister, that's part of the oxygen bank that we've now just accumulated. And so we definitely want to acquire as much more. We got a call last night at midnight where a person said, please come and help. And so our team went out and helped this gentleman right down the street, actually, Sukhumvit 22. It's a very high-end condo.
Yes.
So it's not only the poor that get infected by COVID, it's also the people that are well off as well. But they can't get beds. This person went to 3 hospitals yesterday and got turned away. His blood saturation level was 70.
Yeah.
You know, and it's anything under 94 is red level, right? And so 70s.
People can read, if they're watching the program later, a lot of the comments people are making about the situation that's being described by Greg and Friso, our guests this morning. Lawyers, Guns and Money suggests that we could use the empty hotels. Well, of course, most of the hotels in Bangkok are currently available, many of them closed, so not a bad suggestion there. Keep those questions coming. We're going to have a quick break and we'll be back. We've got Greg and Friso from Bangkok Community Help Foundation. You can go to their Facebook page, Bangkok Community Help, and you can read more about the situation, see some video and photos that they report every day, and perhaps even make a donation. Back after this.
The Thaiger is getting behind businesses for the restart of tourism next month. With 60,000 daily YouTube viewers and around 8 million clicks on our website each month, half of them from overseas, let us help you get in contact with the next wave of inbound travelers. Thaiger is offering 50% discounts on packages right through this month. Details in the description under this video.
And we're back on Good Morning Thailand. We've got Greg and Friso from the Bangkok Community Help Foundation describing a pretty rough situation in Bangkok, particularly around these workers' camps and the high-density communities, where the government in good faith are saying, well, we're going to lock down these communities so people can't get out. But what about the people left inside? It seems like they're getting a pretty rough deal at the moment, if not from the developers, then from the Thai government. Got a few more comments there, Jay.
Well, Tim, to be honest, most of the comments, I think most people are just shocked hearing all the news because it is absolutely horrendous, some of the things that are actually happening. And a lot of the people are just want you to know, Friso and Greg, that the work that you're doing is nothing short of amazing. Everyone is absolutely shocked. Some people are saying this situation is horrendous, it's sickening, it's horrible what's going on in Bangkok right now.
Right, so keep those comments coming in, and clearly the need moving from just things like food and basic provisions to critical needs like oxygen. It was a big problem in India. I know that they had an oxygen shortage. We certainly can't imagine that happening in Bangkok, but from what Greg and Friso are saying, it is already happening, although we are not reading much of this sort of stuff in the media. And we hate to sort of be bringing you this news today, and we'll certainly be following it up with articles on thethaiger.com, but a situation that obviously needs to be sorted out. Can I also say, I just want to have a quick talk to you about Bangkok life, Friso and Greg, in just a moment. But I was amazed around Phuket over the weekend. A lot of people sending us photos of bars that they looked like they were open. But actually what's happening is these are just some nice little dioramas that have been set up. They look almost real. The people, the animatronics and the robots they had in these photos, they just looked so real. They looked like real people, not wearing masks, and they looked like real bar girls. But of course, it's not real like that. These are just some dioramas that have been set up.
We have amazing technology in the world.
Amazing technology. It just seems so real to me. I was shocked, but the technology that's available just to show what it could be like in Phuket in the future. So congratulations to those people. It astonished me how real it was. What is life like in Bangkok at the moment? You guys both live there.
Well, I mean, for us, it's maybe a little bit different. I mean, we're on
Yes.
we're on day 83 of our non-stop work, so we haven't rested a day, doing as much as we can. So for us, yeah, of course, Bangkok, what is it like? It's like putting out fire, swimming upstream. I think you could describe it as there's a lot going on. Obviously, it's not getting better, unfortunately, and yeah, we're basically just trying to respond to as many things as we can to help together with our team, of course. I mean, we have so many volunteers.
So it seems the government is really just locking down. We might want to avoid
It
the
seems like life is normal, with the exception of the bars and the restaurants, and but there's traffic on the streets. It's unlike last April when you remember the first little wave that there was 30 cases and we all were in shock, right? We could only wish for those days again.
But we were told stay home at that time. It was quite different. At the moment, they're saying, well, we'll close everything, but you can wander around. It doesn't seem like they're taking it really seriously.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. And last April, I mean, an hour before curfew, you would not see anyone. But now, I mean, it's a minute for curfew, and there will still be people outside. So it's definitely a different vibe in general. But with the cases being this high, I mean, the alert should be much higher, of course. So, and with the situation with the hospitals and things, I mean, really, it's kind of bad right now. So
I guess there's a difference as well. I mean, now I wake up to almost every day of friends that got affected with COVID, looking either for a bed in a hospital or they want to get tested and they want to know where they can go. I think you mentioned that you also, right? So that's the life in Bangkok, is more people that get infected, and last April was not the case. So
and like you said, Tim, a very big contrast with what we see, the pictures and videos from Phuket and Samui, where
there you go,
life looks great. So yeah, a very good point. That's kind of hard to digest.
If you are in Phuket, stay in Phuket.
Jay.
Friso and Greg, I have a lot of questions here from our viewers who want to help. So a lot of people saying, when I come back to Thailand, I am in Thailand. What can they do right now to help?
Well, if they're abroad and if they want to help, of course, the absolute best is to send in your donation. 100% of everything that comes in goes to people in need. You can see on our Facebook page exactly where we are, what we do. You can, specifically select, let's say I want to buy oxygen, I want to buy food. You can do that by letting us know with your donation. And of course, without donations, nothing of this is able to happen. Right.
What about volunteers and people? Have you got enough staff? Have you got enough people helping you?
We have over 300 volunteers. So we're in great shape there. We're always looking for more. But we've actually, one thing I want to branch out, that we're not only just helping the Quang Toi people right now. Last night at 8 o'clock, where were we last night? That street?
We were in Nawa Min,
which is far away from the slums. But this was a village that had 70 homes, and 30 of them, was it 30 or 40? Yeah. 40 of the homes had COVID. So 30, as far as they know, did not have COVID. So they had put a plead out they never expected on Instagram. There's a plead from this young girl saying, please help us. There's no food. Can you help? And we showed up and they were totally in tears and, surprised. So we'll go anywhere if there's a village that really needs help.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah.
A lot of the viewers want to know, has the government contacted you or thanked you for all your work?
We're not really interested in thank yous. We're looking more for smiles from the people to get that they're happy, like last night at 8 o'clock, where the person was actually tears of joy because the community was going to get food. So that's where we get our thanks from.
Yeah, and amazing after all we've been saying, one idiot here, Nate's Quest, that's right, says more likely to be killed on your scooter or by mosquitoes in Thailand than COVID many times over. Nate, you're an idiot. What a stupid comment. My goodness, I can't believe people are saying things like that. Anyway,
you could come here and go with us for a day.
Yeah, Nate, go and do something useful and actually roll your sleeves up and try and help some of these people that are clearly in need. And if all we're talking about and all we're discussing and showing you on our news on a daily basis isn't evidence enough, and then people still using the word plandemic and scandemic. You really need to have a serious look at yourself and stop using this ridiculous misinformation. Any more questions there?
Kev wants to know, if I'm in Bangkok and I want to volunteer today, how do I start?
You would just go to the Facebook page and send a message saying,
Hi,
I
I'm
wanna
here.
volunteer. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Simple as that.
So
Okay.
you guys are doing a great job, obviously, as part of the Bangkok Community Help Foundation. But there are other groups around the country. Here we know in Phuket, there's One Phuket, and there's the work being done by Sean Stenning and the 5-Star Marine team. And there's other groups sort of looking after local communities. And in Chiang Mai and Pattaya, I mean, we talked about the husband and wife team in Pattaya just getting the 300 food boxes and going and handing them out every day. And they've been doing that for a year. So there's a lot of these little groups right around the country who are doing their thing. You guys are much more high profile. Obviously, you've got a much bigger support base. But the fact that you are telling us these stories is because they are real and these things are happening and they need attention. So we applaud everybody who's doing this remarkable work around Thailand at the moment, at a time
Absolutely.
where the government, for whatever reason, seems to be sort of trying to push it under the covers and no, everything's fine, we're sorting this out and all the cases are going up, but we'll just announce a few more restrictions. But there's clearly an underbelly of information happening here and not being clearly reported. We'll try and do something to amend that. Any final comments there, Jay?
Kevo with a quick question. Are any NGO groups getting behind you?
Good one.
You know, we really work with our volunteer groups, which is fantastic. We have some big corporations that contacted us, not NGOs. I think everybody basically does their own thing as far as, NGOs, but we're kind of unique in that situation,
Yeah, we're in that way very hands-on, and
We're very hands-on. We're just full force.
just do. But of course, any NGO, any person, again, can always contact us. Go to the Facebook page, write us a message. We always answer very quickly. Any help, any support, any questions, please write us, because any help is very, very welcome. So thank you.
Right.
Okay.
I think as far as the government, what can they do at this point in time? I mean, at the end of the day, there are no beds, so they have to try to create beds as much as possible. But more importantly, they need to roll out the vaccine as fast as they possibly can. If they have to buy it, whatever, because we have to get out of this mess.
Sure.
Way out.
All right. One there from Steve.
From Steve. So, how many expats were actually vaccinated at the SCG building Bangkok with the embassy's PR stunt yesterday?
Yeah, you might be aware, Friso and Greg, that 4 or 5 embassies said, quick, come to Bangkok, we've got some vaccines available. People rushedly tried to register on Saturday morning, and I think some were only getting up to about 100 registrations and then locking it down. And even a lot of frustrated people went to Bangkok yesterday trying to get the vaccinations, but were unsuccessful. But it looks like we're now in a situation where the embassies are trying to support the citizens who are in Thailand at the moment. So we'll sort of watch this space. Whilst yesterday was a bit of a rush, I think they are trying to help their citizens. We are very lucky here in Phuket. The people in Samui are very lucky. The health workers in Bangkok have been vaccinated, but there's still a lot more people that need vaccination. So the rollout continues to be fairly lumpy.
Yep.
All right, anything more, Jay?
A lot of support coming in for the work both of you do. We will be putting a link for your Facebook page in the description, but can we have the name of your Facebook group quick for our viewers?
Yeah, it's really easy. Bangkok Community Help.
And as they say on YouTube, there will be a link in the description. We'll make sure it's there. Guys, well done to you. Thank you very much for joining us.
I think Friso wanted to add one thing. What was it?
If anybody is watching, just very quickly, if anybody is watching, like we talked, we need to move the people out of their homes in order to stop the spread of this virus even more. If anybody has a building or a place
Or a hotel.
anything where we potentially could build this community isolation center that we are planning to do, please contact us as well. This is very important. The sooner the better. These people are out of their homes. We hopefully can curb the spread more. So if anybody has that, knows anything, any lead, small or big, please contact as well.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for all the
Thank you.
latest information. We might follow that up with a quick phone call, get some details from you for a bigger story on the Thaiger.com. But yeah, interesting. You got a lot of support there, Jay.
A lot of support for Friso and Greg. On behalf of
Thanks.
me and
Thanks,
Tim and
everybody.
all our viewers, we just want to say thank you for everything you do.
We'd like
Okay.
to say thank you on behalf of all our volunteers, which are awesome as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Well done to all of you. And to Jason pressing the buttons, thank you. We've had a few bumps along the way today. Jay in the Hawaiian shirt looking amazing.
Thank you.
And you're sitting in this seat tomorrow with
I
another
am.
shirt.
I am, definitely with another shirt.
Is your father's wardrobe extensive and copious?
It's okay. We'll see. We'll keep it a surprise.
All right. We look forward to it, I think. And thank you very much for your comments and questions. We appreciate your support. Don't forget to get into Thaiger Talk, where you can also make comments on any of the stories at thethaiger.com. And we look forward to seeing you again on another Good Morning Thailand tomorrow.